stage.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Welcome back to PPAI Expo Live. I'm your host, BJ Smith, and now I am joined by what I'll call an old friend now. This is Greg Gregorian from Lunar Branding. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me again 4 years later. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah, so the last time we saw you, you were like brand new to the industry. We got you up on stage and you were telling about your first experience here.
Yeah.
And it's been 4 years.
It's been 4 years, and it's been incredible. So I would say, the 4 years I've learned so much about this industry, and the biggest pivot that I had, I would say, was the chairman's dinner 4 years ago.
Okay.
Because as I said in the previous interview, I sat next to Dale Denham, who you guys know who he is, right?
Yeah.
I think he's a familiar name and face. And he gave me really good advice. If you guys remember, my previous company name was AZ Access Distribution LLC. It's a mouthful, I get it. The logo was really bad and the whole 9 yards, but I had a customer before I had a company, so I needed to quickly think of a name. And then, at the dinner, I was sharing my story with all the top guys in the industry because I was brand new, and Dale pulled me aside. I was like, hey man, I'm gonna give you some advice. You should change your company name, change your logo, just not jiving. He's giving me some good constructive criticism.
Right.
So I went back. I'm living in downtown Chicago. I'm a big fan of space and the moon, and I actually have pictures of all this. And I have a picture of the moon in between two skyscrapers. And I sat down. I brainstormed a bunch of different names, and I can't, maybe like space advertising, and just comparing two different names.
Right.
I came across Lunar Branding, Googled it. I've now trademarked it. It's a registered trademark.
That's amazing that wasn't taken.
Yeah, and it's wild. My sales actually skyrocketed after I changed. I was nervous to change my name, but I did it, and sky's the limit now. So
I also one of my jobs is as a graphic design instructor, mostly focused on websites. But being a part of the graphic design industry, I know how important that branding is. I actually had some friends come up to me and. They had bought what was already a fairly popular restaurant in my town, and they were trying those auto-generated logos online and things like that. And I was like, look, let me hook you up with a real graphic designer, somebody who knows what they're doing, because that first impression is the most important piece right there.
100%.
If people look at you right away and they automatically get kind of a feeling in here that's not right.
Yes, absolutely.
Then they're probably not going to give you the chance to earn that business, right? So I'm glad that you learned that right away. Pretty soon.
I learned it from the educationals. I went to the educationals yesterday. Yeah. And I learned a lot from there as well. Like Cliff Quicksell, he's given some great presentations on marketing. But going back to the impression, it's funny, on the back of my shirt, it's the imprint of the moon footprint.
Right, oh yeah.
And the phrase that I've trademarked is, what kind of impression are you leaving? Right? And I like to compare it to the footprint you leave in the beach, the wave will wash it away, versus the footprint on the moon goes along with my branding, right?
Right, exactly.
Everyone knows exactly the name of the individual, the date, the time, his background, the whole 9 yards, the story behind that footprint. So I always like to tell people in the promotional product industry and my customers and clients, what kind of impression are you leaving, making sure you get the right products for your brand and your different events that you're hosting.
Yeah, that's solid. That's solid. So tell us about your, what's been going on in the 4 years. So we've had a brand change. You're obviously growing in the industry. You're getting more familiar with the pieces of it. Obviously, the last 2 years have been a little different, and you seem to have weathered the storm. Tell us about what's been going on.
So it was rough, right? In the beginning, obviously, I was supposed to have 2020 being my breakout year.
Right.
I had the most amount of POs lined up in Q4 of 2019, going to go into 2020. I was like, I got this. I was like, oh my God, this is it. Long story short, COVID hits, all the POs get canceled, and I'm sitting there and, I didn't make a sale for 6 months, Q2 and Q3 of 2020, like zero, big fat goose egg. And so I sat to myself and I was like, how can I differentiate? So I tried a few things. They didn't really take off. But I tried some AR, VR type, scanning your logo to make something pop up, or, I spent some time on my own website and I made interactive videos, right? So now someone can go to my website and interact with me and say, hey, what you looking for promotional products or brand consulting, or are you looking for logo design? They click it, the next video prompts is the appropriate response, which is really cool. So I tried some innovative designs or different ideas to attract customers, to keep my current customers engaged.
Yeah.
Q4 ended up being, a huge quarter for me in 2020, and overall in 2020, I beat my 2019 sales, and I was extremely surprised. And then 2021, I had my biggest year yet. I tripled the revenue from 2020. So
That's amazing.
I was like, this is unbelievable. I mean, there's so many ways to win in this industry. It's almost impossible to lose, right? Because you have so many ways. We're like an advertising agency. We can do so many things within it. I mean, promotional products is just one thing, but the consulting piece behind it,
right?
Really engaging with your customers and understanding their pain points and what they're trying to get out of the pandemic, because they're also a business and they're getting through it too. So how can you service them, whether it's through a product or through a marketing campaign idea? There's plenty of ways.
And in 2020 and 2021, there's a lot of people who were desperate to find another way to make a connection.
Sure.
Make that connection, and promotional products are a good way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think 2020 was kind of a forced reset for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So like you said, you step back a little bit, you revamped your website, you did the interactive videos and all these things. A lot of different technologies were put out by companies. People were learning new ways to talk to their customers. Sure. And I think we've taken the things that we've learned to try to adapt to that, and then merging it back into a little bit of normal, and I think overall we're going to come out a lot better in a lot of ways.
I think so too. Yeah, and I think those who could weather the storm and get creative, you have a lot more business. I had customers reach out to me from referrals of my current clients saying, hey, my current vendor can't do it. They've shut down operations, or my current vendor can't do it. They went out of business, or my current vendor can't do it. And I absorbed a lot of business, hence the increase in revenue.
Yeah, and we hate to have lost anybody,
sure.
But it's nice that you're able to adapt and bring in the new clientele.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Cool.
It's been a fun ride.
So 2022 here now. What are you looking forward to? Let's start off with at Expo, and then we'll look at your business.
Sure. Well, I was excited to come back to the Expo. I'm really stoked we had it in person. I really missed having it in person. I mean, just the interactions, the relationships you can build. I know we did it virtually last year, but it just wasn't the same. I went to the dinner again last night, and again, meeting some new people. I've met some new distributors, right? They're brand new. They were just like me 4 years ago, and I've been able to give them advice, which is really nice. I've also met more experienced distributors. They've been in the industry 30, 40 years. Networking with them, getting their advice has been extremely helpful as well. And also just walking the show. I just did the product pavilion, right? Mm-hmm. Came back for this interview, and I have my map of where I'm going to go next and marked off all the different suppliers, and really looking to build the relationships with the ones I currently do business with, and then also gain some new ideas from new suppliers, new product ideas that are out there, and create some marketing campaigns for my customers and just give them those ideas that, hey, did you think about this, or what about this idea? And moving into 2022, that's my plan.
Yeah, one of the things that you were just saying, you talking to some of the older distributors and folks, getting ideas from them. We're, again, dealing with all the changes that have been going on. I think we're in a really interesting place where the newer folks like you, who have been experimenting with technology and some of the newer things, you actually have a lot to add to some of the older folks. It's hard when you've been doing business for 30, 40 years to quickly switch gears, right?
It is, and I have some experience that in the corporate world. I worked for one of the big 4 consulting firms, and one of the jobs was to, transition technology, and you dealt with people who work with the same tech for 30 years. So as a consultant, I come in and explain the benefits of why this new technology is going to help them, and why they should, be willing to adopt it. Same thing coming in here. I help the older distributors. Like, they give me their advice of being in this industry for decades, and I give them the advice of, here's how you can stay alive for the next few decades if you want to, right? Yeah. I mean, different systems come out all the time. Technology is improving, and if you're not constantly staying up to date with technology, or even payment systems, or even crypto as a new form of payment, I mean, that's looming. I really think people should should start thinking about that, in my opinion. But
I've got some NFTs. Follow me.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, my business accepts crypto, but I don't have any other current customers that are willing to dive into that space. But I've set up the platform so when that does get adopted as another form of payment, my company's ready. So I'm always forefront, like thinking, having that foresight to really say, how am I going to differentiate my company? How am I going to make it easier for the technology shift that we're having in this economy, in the society that we're in, for other companies to do business with me.
Great. Greg, man, it's been great catching back up with you.
Likewise.
Good to see you after a few years, and glad you're still hitting it hard. So that's amazing.
I appreciate it, BJ, and look forward to being on a future interview with PPAI Live.
Absolutely. So enjoy the show and have a great 2022.
Great. Thank you. You too.